CFA Level 1 candidates, are you struggling with quantitative analysis and want an ex-candidate to share some strategies and tips that work for them? Then you are absolutely in the correct video. Keep watching. Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tanishka and I hope you all are doing good. Today I'm gonna be talking about one of my most requested subjects, most requested topics on this channel. In fact, I have one subscriber. You will know who you are. You will know who you are, who has been after me since July and has so patiently waited for me to make this video. So thank you to all of you who have waited so patiently and so kindly that I make this particular video on quantitative analysis for CFA level 1. So in this video I'm gonna touch base on strategies that I use to study, and I'm also gonna touch base on hypothesis testing. What is a null hypothesis, what is an alternative hypothesis, type 1 error, type 2 error. I'm gonna touch base on all those topics, so make sure you stay tuned till the very end. Now, before we get on to this video, if you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. I really need your support and love. If you're already a part of this channel, thank you so much for joining me in this journey. I hope we stay together till the end of time. Now, CFA level 1 students, I know that quants can get very intimidating. If any of you have already started studying, then you can relate to what I'm saying, right? It is pretty intimidating. In my opinion, it is one of the toughest topics in CFA level 1. To make you guys feel better, it gets way easier in level 2. In level 2, quants becomes boring, but it is much easier to score and much easier to understand than it is in level 1. So level 1 jail lo guys, level 2 nikal jayega. Just believe me on this one. Now, understand two things. First things first, quants is one of those rare subjects in CFA जिसमें आप ज़्यादा logic नहीं लगा पाते हो हर चीज़ में, because it is very calculation based. It is a certain calculation that is being followed. They are more statistically oriented, they are more fact oriented, where you cannot really add logic. जैसे हमने ethics video में बनाया था, right? We made quick quirky examples for every single standard. We can even do that in a way for fixed income sometimes, for derivatives. But quants is one of those subjects where you really have to keep your analytical mind completely on point, and somewhere you can't put logical examples and things like that, because it is what it is. They are stats, they are facts, you can't change them. एक तरीके से वो calculate होता है, एक तरीके से उसके conclusions पे आना होता है. It's a rule based thing, so you can't change it too much. But don't worry, I'm gonna tell you my way of thinking for type 1, type 2 error that might help a lot of you. Anyway, so as a strategy, like I said, understand one thing. जैसे मैंने कहा कि वो logical part तो हो गई एक बात. Number 2, quants, fortunately or unfortunately, especially level 1 quants, forms the calculation base. The calculation base, mark this line, calculation base for the entire CFA curriculum. Yes. Most of the calculations that you're gonna learn here, be it the hypothesis calculations, be it the time value of money, most important, NPV, rate of interest, it's gonna be used in level 1, 2, 3 in some subjects or the other. कहीं ना कहीं ज़रूर आएगा. You'll see it in a fixed income, you'll see it in an equity, you'll also see it in an alternative investments, the same kind of calculation. So you have to really inculcate those calculations within you, that how do you do it, how do you solve it, what is the process, how do you discover which sum को कौन सी तरीके से calculate करना है. That is what CFA level 1 quants is about, and you really should spend a little bit time doing that. Now, CFA level 1 quants has two topics that we all know. One is that interest rate topic. I think it's the first topic that you guys have, wherein they give you definitions of interest rates and things like that. Very important topic, because again that will form the base of a lot in the curriculum. You know, next time when you start reading other chapters, they might just give you nominal interest, real interest. They are not going to define it for you. They already expect कि because आपने quants में पढ़ लिया तो आपको पता ही होगा ये बात, right? Next, we have the most important chapter of quants that I'm going to tell you about is time value of money. Extremely important. Like I said, it forms the base of the entire CFA calculations, time value of money. You cannot ignore it at all. Like, बिल्कुल भी नहीं करना. In fact, you should spend extra time and very detailed time understanding time value of money because it is that important. ये सिर्फ लेवल 1 क्वांट्स की बात नहीं है. लेवल 1 में आपको ये फिक्स्ड इनकम में भी यूज़ होगा, इक्विटी में भी यूज़ होगा, आपको लेवल 2 में भी बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट्स में यूज़ होंगे, आपको लेवल 3 में आपकी जान नहीं छोड़ने वाला. टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, बेसिक पॉइंट इज दैट. हाउ टू नेविगेट टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी, how to learn it, what is my strategy. First things first, understand how to use the BA2 plus financial calculator, the CFA calculator. Very important. You should know all the functions in and out extremely well. The time value of money functions, the cash flow functions, the NPV functions, the IRR functions, clear, store, recall, how to calculate mean and standard deviation easily. Know your calculator very 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 well and आपका आधा quants का problem solve हो चुका होता है. Because quants in a lot of part of level 1 can be navigated through the calculator if you have really spent some time understanding the shortcuts, the tricks, and just using it very very efficiently. That is point number 1 and very important. You cannot ignore this thing. Number 2, very underrated, whenever you are doing a time value of money sum, चाहे वो किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के फॉर्म में आए, फिक्स्ड इनकम में, इक्विटी में आए या सीधा कॉन्स में भी आए, whenever you are solving something related to time value of money, always, highlighting the word always, draw a timeline. Do not ignore this point. When I started studying quants in CFA level 1, I used to make so many mistakes in the start because मैं timeline नहीं बनाती थी. मेरे को लगता था हाँ I can mentally visualize it, and there was a drastic change when I actually started drawing the timeline. मतलब it was ज़मीन आसमान का फर्क, and I'm not exaggerating. And once you visually see when you're putting out things on the timeline, you can't imagine how faster your mind works, how easier you're able to understand that what is the end, what is the I, whatever, etc etc. It's much easier to understand, especially for the calculation of maturity or term, number of years. N का calculation के लिए time value of money is the timeline drawing is extremely important and highly underrated. 1 मिनट ज़्यादा लगेगा लेकिन टाइमलाइन बनाओ हर सम में, चाहे आप परफेक्ट भी हो गए हो ना, ऑन द एग्जाम डे डोंट सॉल्व योर सम विदाउट मेकिंग अ टाइमलाइन. पॉइंट नंबर 3, अगेन this might take 1 extra minute for you while you're solving sums, but do it. Use a rough paper at all points of times. Write it in your rough paper. N is equal to this, IYY is equal to this, PV is equal to this, PMT is equal to this, CPT, FV. लिखो और फिर सॉल्व करो. चाहे write it in a bad handwriting, write it roughly, write it dirtily, but always write it. Take that extra minute because personal experience, when you do not write it, you end up making mistakes by quickly double typing or mistyping. आपको लगता है आपने कर लिया, and sometimes like I said, you double type, पता भी नहीं चलता. So don't make, these are the small errors where people make a lot of mistakes. And of course calculator का end begin mode also keep in mind. Last and most important point to navigate time value of money, I know this is gonna sound cliche, practice. Keep practicing. There is no way out of it. Now overall quants को navigate करने का भी यही तरीका है, practice, but with a slight twist. First things first, do a detailed reading of all the chapters, all the topics that you have, time value of money, interest rates, hypothesis, mean, standard deviation, everything. Do that one detailed reading, and after every reading, so for example, after you finish reading time value of money, solve the end of chapter curriculum questions. Don't go for the Schwezer questions. Even if you're studying from Schwezer, it's fine, but question solve करने के time पे go for the end of chapter curriculum questions, institute questions, always. Believe me, आपको लगेगा कि मेरे को समझ आ गया time value of money, it's so simple as this and that. The moment you start solving the institute questions, you will really understand कि oh my god कितना नहीं समझा मुझे. बहुत high chances हैं कि score थोड़ा कम आएगा, 40%, 25%, 30%, 10%, 0 आ सकता है. It's okay. Leave it. But solve all the end of chapter curriculum questions of that one topic. Even if you're getting a 0, it's okay. But make sure that you're seeing the solution. कि क्या गलत हुआ? Why did I go wrong? See the solution. Then go to the next topic. So maybe the next topic is hypothesis. I don't remember the topic sequence. So maybe the next topic you're studying is hypothesis. Again, do a detailed reading, सब कुछ समझो, then solve the end of chapter curriculum questions of hypothesis. सारे, एक भी मत छोड़ना. Even if you're getting a 0, keep doing it and keep seeing keep reading the answers अगर question गलत आया तो. आप बोलोगे कि यार ये तो कितना डीमोटिवेटिंग प्रोसेस है, 'cause we'll get only 20%, 30%, वेरी रेयरली कोई 70 या कुछ टच होगा. अभी के लिए गलत आ गया ना. इट इज़ माई बिगेस्ट फंडा इन माई इंटायर CFA स्टडिंग. इट्स ओके इवन इफ यू गेट अ 0 10 times ड्यूरिंग योर स्टडी एंड प्रैक्टिस सेशंस. बस एग्जाम में 0 नहीं आना चाहिए. और वो एग्जाम में 0 सिर्फ तब नहीं आएगा जब वो zeros अभी आपको मिल चुके हैं. यू हैव टू नेविगेट थ्रू द zeros टू रीच दैट 70 or 100, और वो ऐसे ही होगा, राइट. सो बट डोंट लीव द प्रैक्टिस. हर टॉपिक के बाद एंड ऑफ चैप्टर, हर टॉपिक के बाद एंड ऑफ चैप्टर करिकुलम क्वेश्चंस, रिपीटिंग दिस, नॉट श्वेजा क्वेश्चंस, नॉट एनी अदर नोट्स ऑफ एनीथिंग, बट एंड ऑफ चैप्टर करिकुलम क्वेश्चंस ओनली. देन वंस यू आर डन, सब कर लिया, आपको लगेगा बहुत कम आ गया, छोड़ दो. पूरा क्वांट्स फिनिश कर लिया, यू आर डन विद इट, मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट जो भी है वो भी है. Coming to revision, whenever you're gonna start your revision, that's gonna be somewhere around 1 month before your exam. First of all, quants को थोड़ा सा ऊपर रखो revision section में. Ethics and FRA will be the top. I'm gonna make a separate video on the sequence, you'll understand. But quants को थोड़ा सा ऊपर रखो, so you have a longer period to revise. And keep practicing every single day. I know you guys will feel demotivated when you see the low answers, low questions, क्या नहीं आ रहा, solve नहीं हो रहा. बट आपको नहीं पता कि वो रॉन्ग आंसर्स जब आप बार बार देखोगे, जब आप उसका सोल्यूशन पढ़ोगे, इट इज़ फीडिंग इन योर मेमोरी एंड यू विल मैनेज टू क्लियर एटलीस्ट दैट सब्जेक्ट इन द एग्जाम, होपफुली. सो डोंट एवर स्टॉप इवन इफ यू आर गेटिंग अ 0. इफ़ यू हैव एक्स्ट्रा टाइम, प्रो टिप, इफ़ यू हैव एक्स्ट्रा टाइम, तो बीच में एक बार जो क्वेश्चंस गलत हुए थे उसको वापस सॉल्व करो. डोंट सी द सोल्यूशन, इरेज इट और रीसेट इट ऑन योर कैंडिडेट रिसोर्सेज एंड रीसॉल्व इट. सी की क्या हाल है. हो सकता है आप देखोगे कि अगर पहले 10 गलत थे ना, तो द सेकेंड टाइम व्हेन यू डू इट आफ्टर योर रिविजन में भी तो सिर्फ 4 गलत आएंगे या 5 गलत आएंगे. यू सी द नंबर्स आर कमिंग डाउन. दैट इज द स्ट्रैटेजी फॉर दिस. नाउ coming to my most favorite part of this video, as promised, the hypothesis learning part. I'm gonna now tell you how I study hypothesis. I am not getting into the calculation bit of it because I feel that वो सब आप navigate कर सकते हो. You all know how to calculate standard error, standard deviation. It's very formula based. You just have to apply the formula. But I'm gonna tell you how to detect what do you mean by the null hypothesis, what do you mean by the alternate hypothesis, how to never forget that, and very very important, how to classify what a type 1 error is and what a type 2 error is. ये बहुत पूछा जाता है. In fact ये same point level 3 में भी यूज होता है. So it is that important. आप समझ लो. Starting with anytime you're doing a hypothesis, you have to always write a null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis. Always write means आपको आंसर वो नहीं लिखना है, but you always should write it while you're solving, because you can't, like I already said, even for time value of money, जो rough paper में लिखते हैं ना, it is so underrated, but it helps. And sometimes also I think they ask, if I'm not mistaken, मेरे time पे पूछा भी था, what is the null hypothesis of this question. So you really need to understand the meaning of what do you mean by a null hypothesis and what do you mean by an alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis usually written as value is equal to 0. In level 1 usually they're calculating mean, but you can do a hypothesis on anything. You can do a hypothesis on value of an asset, value of gold. It could also be judging performance of a manager. It could be, you could do a hypothesis on anything. In this example I'm just gonna put it as value, because value of whatever is equal to 0. That is the null hypothesis always. HO denotes null hypothesis is equal to HO is value is equal to 0. Equal to 0 मतलब उस चीज़ की कोई वैल्यू ही नहीं है. It is null. That's why null hypothesis उसका नाम है. HO is called null hypothesis because इसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. 0 has no value here. यहाँ पे आर्यभट्टा वाला मैथ्स लगाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है कि अरे 0 का भी वैल्यू होता है. नो प्लीज़. When you are buying or selling something, अगर कोई आपको कुछ सेल करे, if you have to sell something, तो क्या आप 0 के दाम पे बेचोगे? नहीं ना, आप बोलोगे इसकी वैल्यू नहीं है, मैं एटलीस्ट मेरे को 1 रुपये तो दो, मैं 0 पे क्यों बेचूँ. सो थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक दैट. एंड एसेट्स, इफ इट इज़ 0 मतलब आपके काम की नहीं है. वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू 0, वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू नल, मुझको चाहिए ही नहीं. दैट इज HO. देन HA, दैट इज द alternate hypothesis, always states that value is not equal to 0. This not equal to sign, remember one thing, they are not telling you value क्या है, पर वो आपको ये बोल रहा है कि बॉस ये 0 नहीं है, इसकी कुछ तो वैल्यू है. इट कुड बी 1, इट कुड बी 2, इट कुड बी 3, इट कुड बी 4, पर कुछ तो वैल्यू है. ये लेने का मतलब है 0 नहीं है, बस आपको कुछ तो मिल जाएगा. इस चीज़ को करने से या इस मीन को या इस वैल्यू को लेने से. दैट इज़ व्हाट द ऑल्टरनेट हाइपोथेसिस इज. सो व्हेन वी से वी आर रिजेक्टिंग द नल, मतलब हम क्या बोल रहे हैं, हम बोल रहे हैं नल गलत है. नल ने क्या बोला, व्हाट डिड H0 से, दैट इसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, 0 है. हम बोल रहे हैं वी आर रिजेक्टिंग द नल, नल गलत है. मतलब हम बोल रहे हैं कि बॉस इस चीज़ का वैल्यू 0 नहीं है, इसका कुछ तो वैल्यू है. दैट इज़ व्हाट यू मीन बाय रिजेक्टिंग द नल. हम बोल रहे हैं कि नल गलत है. नल ने क्या बोला कि इसकी वैल्यू 0 है, तो हम क्या बोल रहे हैं, नहीं है इसकी वैल्यू 0. वी रिजेक्ट, वी अपोज व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, null G. That is what rejecting the null means. Failing to reject a null means what? Failing to reject a null means that the null is correct, the value is equal to 0, that's why you do not reject it, you fail to reject it, you agree with it. That is what fail to reject a null means. These two terms are very very important because that is where you will start your final answers of hypothesis. आपने सुना होगा, आपको क्वेश्चंस यही पूछेंगे मेनली, should we, I rejected this null, fail to reject the null, what is your decision. आपको यही decisions लिखने हैं basis your answer. अगर आपका आंसर जो भी आप ढूंढ रहे हो, suppose I'm telling you find the standard error, is the standard error, will you reject the null for the standard error? You would not reject. I'm coming up with questions. So how will you do it? You will find the standard error का figure. अगर वो 0 आया तो आप क्या बोलोगे, you will accept the null is true. But अगर वो 0 आया और आपने वो किया कि I reject the null, you're understanding, that is where you put these answers of in hypothesis, and that is where the errors come. Whenever you are doing hypothesis, बहुत chances हैं to make mistakes, to make errors, because we are all just but human. कभी कभी मशीनों से भी गलती होती है. That's why errors are very common, and that is where type 1 and type 2 error comes in the picture. Type 1 type 2 error basically means what, कि hypothesis करने के टाइम पे आप कितने errors कर सकते हो as a human being, but these two are the topmost error that people do while creating a hypothesis or trying to signify a hypothesis, and it also has the maximum impact because उसके ऊपर आपका answer base होगा. How? Let me tell you. Type 1 error says what? Type 1 error says, sorry, I've written it down, I need to read it, I keep forgetting. Type 1 error says you are rejecting a true null. Whenever you reject a true null, that means you have created or committed a type 1 error. What do you mean by rejected a true null? ये बहुत confusing होगा. मतलब कि null ने जो बोला था that the value is equal to 0, वो बात सही है, but आपने oppose कर दिया, आपने reject कर दिया. You rejected a true null. आपने question कर लिया, जो बात उसने लिखी थी वो सही थी, the value is equal to 0, but you said it is not. If the value of the asset or the mean or whatever that you are calculating is comes to 0, okay, that means the null is correct. But if you reject that null and say null गलत है, that means you have committed a type 1 error. null बेचारा सही बोल रहा था, आप फालतू में उसके ऊपर खड़े हो गए, that means you have created a type 1 error. What is a type 2 error? Type 2 error says fail to reject a false null. मतलब क्या है इसका? मीन्स नल गलत था बॉस, वैल्यू 0 नहीं है, वैल्यू कुछ तो है, क्या है नहीं पता, वैल्यू कुछ तो है बट 0 नहीं है. एंड आपने क्या किया, आपने पर नल को रिजेक्ट ही नहीं किया. यू फेल टू रिजेक्ट द नल. आपने कुछ बोला ही नहीं नल को, तो आप बोल रहे हो कि नल सही है, तो यू हैव क्रिएटेड अ टाइप 2 एरर. क्योंकि नल गलत है, अब क्वेश्चन उठाना है, तो अब आपने क्वेश्चन उठाया ही नहीं, आप बोल रहे हो हाँ नल सही है, तो इन दैट पॉइंट यू हैव क्रिएटेड अ टाइप 2 error. Now, why did I just explain the meaning of null hypothesis, alternate hypothesis, type 1, type 2 error? Because these are very very important things that come. You get tested a lot in this. You will get tested a lot to signify whether you should reject the null, not reject the null, accept the null, fail to reject the null. Hence, I have explained those statements in the best possible way that I could. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. समझ आया नहीं समझ आया, let me know that also. This is a tricky topic, so I've tried to use a little bit of English. I've tried to explain it in as easy words as possible. I really really hope कि आपको समझा. But like I said in the start, the crux to quants is, believe it or not, you have to know the calculator in and out. Hypothesis जो मैं already बता चुकी हूँ. Definitions जो है interest rates के, you need to know that. And practice, because You will keep getting zeros and 10% and 20% in your practice, but without that you will not be able to navigate the exam. And like I said, it gets better in level 2, so please stay strong. Now for the level 1 CFA November 2023 candidates, I know you are waiting for your last 1 month strategy video. I promise it will come very soon, hopefully on Friday itself. But yeah, please stay tuned for that. If you like this particular video, then like, comment, share, and please subscribe. I will see you guys very soon. Until then, keep sparkling and definitely keep learning.